I want to look a little bit at some specifics about center cue ball, and I think I'm just going to do a contrast concerning the traditional way of looking at center cue ball versus the real center to edge method of arriving at center cue ball. For this first shot, I'm just going to line up traditionally and find center cue ball without any kind of sweep or any kind of pivot. So that means from here I'm going to move into the shot. Now I've got to tweak to find it. So what's happening is my upper body is moving a little bit, my bridge is moving a little bit, and I'm locating center cue ball by feel. So once again, I'm going to move in on this shot. So I'm tweaking around, and finally that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to take that, roughly that same shot, and do it with center to edge. So I'm objective right here. So that means I'm working with a fixed cue ball. I'm working with a fixed cue ball once again at this point right here. Now notice there's no tweaking. When I get my tip at dead center, there's the shot. So the system took me to the shot line in center to edge aiming. Now let's look at a slight cut to the left using the traditional approach of just locating center cue ball. So I'm going to drop in on this ball, and then I'm going to locate the aim line that pockets this 3. So notice as I move into this shot, I've got some movement going on. Now, there's the shot. So I hit it pretty cleanly, but I had to feel that. The system did not take me to the shot line. That was just strictly a feel approach for that shot. Now this is a similar shot, and I'll use the pivot method to it. So I know where I'm going here visually. I have an objective approach that's going to occur here. So as I move in on this shot, I'm going to go objective right there. There's my objective alignment. Now, when I turn to center, there's the shot line. There's no tweaking, no moving around, just an execution of the shot. Let's look at a cut to the right. Traditionally, I'm just going to move right in, and that feels good right there. So there's some movement going on in order to arrive at the proper shot line from the traditional perspective. Now from the CTE perspective, I'm going into an objective alignment in full stance. So there's my objective alignment right there. Now, when I get to center, there's the shot right there. See, once I get to center, there is no tweaking. The system takes me to the shot line. Let's do a little bit of a thinner cut to the left. So obviously I have a lot of experience with playing by feel, and that's always a good thing. The more experience you have with this game, then the more you have to draw from. So I know what this shot looks like, because I've certainly shot well in excess of 1,000,000 balls. But okay, so for center ball, I'm going to move around till I find center. Okay, that looks pretty good right there. So I'm just going to stroke straight down that line. Now, a similar shot with CTE. I'm going into an objective visual alignment that connects with that right angle. So that's the first thing that I'm going to establish. So there's the tweaking that I can do to sort of in the pre-pivot position, you might say. So there's the perfect visual. Now, when I get to center, there's the shot line. So there's no tweaking after you get to center cue ball. The system takes you to center. You know, when you're talking about pure CTE, there's only 2 visuals to learn. And it takes a little bit of time to learn them, but if a person really has desire, it's not a real long process. It's not a matter of having a lot of degrees in education or engineering or whatever. It's a matter of using the intelligences that are involved in playing this game, visual and physical. Now, let's look at another shot. Cut to the right this time. So I'm just going to use the traditional approach. I'm just going to go right to center. I'm going to move around till everything looks good. So that looks very strong right there. So the CTE approach, I'm going to go in for an objective alignment that's going to occur during full stance. There's the objectivity right here that I'm going to arrive at as I drop into full stance. So there's my objective visual there. Now, as I move into this shot, I'm going to reestablish that right here. So there's my objective visual. Now, when this cue turns to center, then I'm perfectly lined up to make this ball. There's no more tweaking after I get to center. So you can start to see a contrast between the 2 methods. The system takes me to center cue ball in CTE. I have to take myself to center cue ball through feel in the traditional approach. Now, I'm going to shoot a few longer shots. So obviously it's going to get tougher because we know that the table is divided up into 2 squares, and the first series of shots that I shot were all from the same square as far as the cue ball and the object ball being located within this 1 square. But once you start working with 2 squares, everything gets a little bit tougher. So I'm going to feel my way into this shot, feel my way right into center cue ball. Okay, so I really thought I was going to make that ball. Now I'm going to shoot roughly the same shot with CTE. So I'm a lot more comfortable here on this shot because I have the perfect visual here. Now once I go to center, and there's center right there, I pocketed the ball there. Now I'm going to back up a little bit further. Traditional approach. So now from this point right here, I have to find my tip position that makes this ball traditionally. In CTE, I know where I'm going objectively. I can see it here, but what's most important is that I can see it when I'm in full stance. So I'm going to drop down in full stance, establish my objective relationship between the cue ball and the object ball. Okay, that's perfect. Now I pivot to dead center. So I think you can sort of get the idea of what's occurring here. In centered edge aiming, the system takes me to center cue ball. There's no tweaking once I get to center. So this is centered edge aiming here. There's my objective visual. There it is again, right there. Now, once I turn my cue to center, dead center, there's the shot. What happens often with traditional aiming is that it causes the player sometimes to accept a little bit of outside or a little bit inside. For example, let's say I have this shot and I'm intending to use center ball, and I drop down on this shot and my tip is just a little bit outside. Well, I just go ahead and accept that. And I think back on the days when I used to play that way. Instead of standing up, I would accept small amounts of outside to make balls. So what would happen in that case would be that my alignment would be just slightly off because I accepted something that I really wasn't trying to accomplish. So on this shot right here, this is center to edge. I'm just going to drop right into my objective visual here. There's my objective visual right there. Now, once I turn to center, there's my connection with that pocket. So, in center to edge aiming, the system takes you to the shot line. The visuals of real center to edge aiming connect one with the pocket. If you're doing traditional aiming, then you have to make your own connection with the pocket based on your experience. And absolutely, make no mistake about it, a person that uses centered edge aiming has to develop experiences as well. You learn as a CTE user which visual to use, which way to pivot or which way to sweep, and that's the nature of center to edge aiming. It's a professional system. There are some that begin to work with CTE, and within a week or two they haven't advanced like they want to, so they declare that, well, I have all these degrees and this and that, and I can't understand it. It has nothing to do with the number of degrees that a person has. A person is not, reading and doing math is not a prerequisite for playing pool. Playing pool is a task that is done with visual and physical intelligence. What is so special about center to edge aiming is that the perceptions that were once unable to be described, that connect with these pockets, can now be objectively described. And unfortunately, there are those that they want to be exposed to the perceptions and the pivots and such, and have the magic to take them right into a high level of play in just a week or two. So what they do when that doesn't happen, they throw their hands up and they start, complaining a little bit. But I just want to re-emphasize, this is a professional system. CTE allows you to connect with a professional approach for playing this game. There's not another system out there other than center-to-edge aiming, real center-to-edge aiming, where the system actually takes the shooter to the shot line. Now, one of these days, the real impact of what's happening with this system is going to emerge so that everybody can see it. Right now there's a lot of people that want to push this aside. They want to push aside what I teach. I expected that. Hal said that was going to happen, but in spite of that, centered edge aiming is spreading around the world at a very good clip, and I'm thrilled with how it's spreading. So, centered edge aiming is real. It's exactly what I have purported it to be, and with work and some desire, you can understand this very simple system. Yes, it's very simple. What makes it seemingly hard for some people is that it's different. Yes, it's different. But once you expose your visual intelligence to it for a while, then your visual intelligence starts really warming up to the system. And that's where the learning curve is really shortened. If you go through this, feel your way through all these shots, then it takes a blue million shots. But with center to edge aiming, it doesn't take a blue million shots to learn the system. You can be playing the game, approaching the game is a better word, like a professional player in a very, very short time. I don't care what level you're at. Thank you once again for your attention.